we go ahead and get started, we'll go ahead and say the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'm going to awkwardly stand, pardon my middle section. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible,
with
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, and Ian, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen if I'm able to, and I'll bring up the agenda.
So if I could just interject.
Sure.
So all the grading permits in front of you tonight, they're only here because the ordinance requires, if you're moving X cubic yards of dirt, you must appear before the Shade Tree Commission. But to a T, none of them have any trees being removed. So I just want to let you know that, because I don't feel there's going to be a lot to review on them. This is more of a formality. But I would like to request from the Shade Tree Commission to just think about for the future, and it would have to be done by ordinance amendment, to allow staff to administratively process permits where there's only earth being moved, no trees are being removed, and that way it would expedite things for the applicant, and it would reduce the agenda items for the Shade Tree Commission, where there's really not a lot for you to have to review.
Yeah, can I add something to that, Steve or Seth? So in looking at all the plans in detail and doing site visits, like all of the grading applications, the shade tree protection fencing was up on each one. It was adequate or more than adequate in each occasion. Yeah, I had a couple of small questions on some of the applications, but in general, it was like very pro forma material. So I would agree, Steve, that to spend too much time on applications where no trees are really affected in any way, it seems like a waste of time.
Steve, would we have John Rice put together a little script for us for the amendment?
So what we could do is, we would have to have it as an agenda item at a meeting, perhaps the next meeting, and the Shade Tree Commission would direct staff to work with the solicitor to come up with an amendment to allow staff, whether township engineer, whatever, to administratively process permits, where there are no trees being removed and no trees being impacted. And what we would do is get that wording done, bring it back to the Shade Tree Commission, get your approval, whatever wordsmithing you'd want to do, and then we would take that to the Board of Commissioners.
Sure. Yeah, and for tonight's purposes, we'll still run through each of the plans, but we'll just focus on the tree protection, obviously, because there's no trees being removed, and we'll try and be expeditious as possible. All right. So first agenda item is the meeting minutes from September 16th. Do any of the commission members have any questions, comments, or concerns? All right. So all in favor of approving the minutes from last time?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. So moving into 6 Warewood Road. So who on the line is on for that property?
Hello, Patrick Spellman with Site Engineering Concepts.
Hi, Patrick. I'll go ahead and pull up your plans and then just direct me to which page. And really what we just need to see is any tree protection and ingress, egress, and your activity around those trees.
Right. All right. If, you just wanted to zoom in around the backyard pool area,
Sure.
Including the driveway, that would be a good place to start.
How's that?
All right, good. I just have to move these pictures. All right, So what they're doing is putting in a pool and patio in the backyard. The backyard slopes towards the house. So what we wound up doing is building a patio off the back of the house and sloping it away from the house, and then having the water be diverted around the pool. So we would come in from the driveway on the bottom of the page. It would be the access. There's a tree right there. You pass the detached shed, a tree right there, which they would like to protect. And we have tree protection fencing there. Along the back, we have tree protection fencing right there. Stop. That first tree you came by, that first tree was there a year ago, and we surveyed. No, I'm sorry, the second tree. Go up the page a bit more. Yep, that one. Stop right there. You can just see it. That tree apparently was damaged and had to be removed. There's another tree right behind it, which is being saved. So the tree protection fencing is going to stay. And then going to the top of the page and back down the side is the tree protection fencing along the swale that we need for stormwater. And then towards the middle of the property is a stormwater basin that is required for the project.
Got it. Looks good. And Matt, you mentioned you took a look at this property.
I did, and I couldn't see every aspect of it, but it looked like where the tree protection is located is correct. And it doesn't look like the ingress and egress of construction materials can affect other trees on the plan. So it looked fine.
Great. Thank you. Anyone on the commission have any questions? All right. All in favor of approval? Aye. All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, and I'll see you at the last item on the agenda.
Sounds good. All right, moving on to the next property address, 112 Dovecote, new dwelling. Who on the line?
So Seth, hold on a minute. Was that unanimous? Everybody said yes?
I believe I caught everyone, but speak
Okay.
up.
Thank you.
I'll do the full video grid view so I can see it next time.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right. Anyone from 112 Dovecote on the line?
Doug Knox here from Craft Custom Homes.
Great. Hi, Doug. How are you?
How you doing?
All right. Page 1 or page 2?
Page 1 gives you a pretty good oversight of the lot itself. Lot 5 is an approved lot and I believe it's called 615 Newtown Road is the subdivision. It's the final lot within the community. We're staying within the boundaries that were established under the original approvals of the lot itself. You'll see there's a large stormwater management bed area off to the right side of the lot. And that system's already installed. It's part of actually the community stormwater system. So there's no more disturbance that'll be happening over there. We did submit an amended plan today based upon the engineering comments, and the tree protection and silt fencing have been modified to better protect that area.
Okay. Trish, do we have that updated plan by chance?
It was not uploaded, no.
Okay.
I do have a copy I can share on my computer if you like.
Yeah, if we could go ahead and do that, that would be great. I will stop sharing.
Okay, let me go, oops, let me go back into this. Back into screen. That's the pre-development there. Fine. There we go. Oh, come on back. Can you see this?
Nothing yet.
Yeah.
Go back into the Zoom.
Doug, if you can't pull it up, maybe you can just walk us through what the plans, the resubmitted plans look like.
Okay. What we found on the lot, let me go back in here, was there some of this lot, due to the number of trees that were removed initially for the development of the community, there was a plan for trees being added to this lot. There's a white oak tree that's in the front yard, up by the curb line. We added that to the resubmitted plan and have tree protection fencing going around that. And then to the back left-hand corner of the driveway, there's 3 Norway spruce that were part of the tree enhancement package for the community as well. Those are also shown on the new plan with tree protection fencing around those. And then some of the limited disturbance that's shown on this particular plan, we do need to grade the front yard some, and this was basically showing that we would not be working in those areas. We had that modified as well so that we could grade the front yard properly.
But you're not removing any trees, and there's no trees in the front yard.
Correct. There's a tree in the front yard that was
Yeah.
planted by the developer. It's a smaller
Correct.
tree. that-
Yeah, correct. No large mature trees, yes.
Correct.
Great.
I'm going to interject just for future reference for any consultant. If you send us a revised plan the day of the meeting, during the busyness of the day, that's probably not going to make it up on the agenda to amend the agenda to show that.
No, I understand.
We require a week out. So I just want to make sure everybody understands, when something comes in along with the other 50 plans that come in during a day, that's not going to work for something like this. So that's why we're stepping through it as we are.
And my only comment is that looking at the plan and looking at the site, the easement area, which is the sort of lined area that's 45 LF6 down on the right side of it's between the trees and the development itself. It's like a rectangle. The tree protection fencing on this plan is X with dashes. And so it's not always consistent. Like we look at plans and the tree protection isn't always consistent. So we're searching for where is the tree protection. It ends right at that rectangle of easement.
Mm-hmm.
And in my view, I would pull that tree protection down further, but I can't tell from a site visit whether that's necessary or not. So
yeah,
I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah, the new plan, we did actually curl it up in front of there as a protection because that system is actually installed in the ground already. Mm-hmm. So there's no trees there.
Okay.
And it does also show the original pre-development tree line as well, which can be confusing. There were trees in that area that were removed initially. Okay. And I think that's why you see that there's a tree line that kind of follows the back corner of the house that doesn't exist.
Okay.
And Steve, did you get a chance to review the revised plans that were sent back?
I did not. Like I say, Steph, during everybody's busy day, if somebody drops off a plan at 11 o'clock, it's going to be a slim chance that we can do that. That's why we have that week requirement to give everybody a chance to look at it.
And today I was trying to respond more to the engineer's comments as well, which I did send an email to Andrew Zerby over at Gannett Fleming as well.
Steve, the revisions that you requested, were they significant or fairly minor?
You're on mute, Steve.
Yep, just went on mute.
What I would recommend is, I think staff can handle it from this point. We'll make sure that the Shade Tree Commission comments are noted on the, we will make any changes based on the meeting with the consultant. So I think if you're okay with that as a board, we can move forward on this and staff will work directly with the applicant to clean up things.
Sure. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Any concerns from the commission?
No.
Okay. For all in favor with approved with revisions as mentioned? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Next.
Okay, thank you.
Address on the agenda, 27 Fairston Road. And who do we have to represent this property? If you're speaking, you may be on mute. Oh, there you are. Hello.
My name is Chris Yon. I'm the civil engineer for this project.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. So really, we just need to see ingress, egress, what dirt you're moving, and any tree protection that you may have. Is there any particular page you want me to go to?
We can start with this sheet 1.
Okay.
So right now, this is a vacant lot. You can see the trees that are there are these black dots. This in brown is the new house, a new driveway, a new single-family dwelling. There's grading shown on the plan, although not a lot of grade lines. The way that the site grades actually works fairly nicely with where we're putting the house in it. So there's a few grade lines on the left-hand side of the building, just showing a swale along the side of the house. Same thing on the right, but we're basically holding the grade at the back, filling a little bit for the driveway courtyard in the front. The intent is to keep all of the existing trees. We don't have any designated to be removed. There are a nice row of dogwood trees along the existing street here, and they're kind of pushed back behind the right-of-way, behind an asphalt walkway, but the goal is to keep those trees. I know development's pretty close to some of them, but we're going to try to keep those. So this is sheet 1. I believe if you scroll to sheet 3, would have the tree protection fencing, and that's by the line with the X's through it on that right-hand side of the building.
Okay. Is the tree protection currently installed, or is it to be installed?
I don't believe it's installed yet.
Okay. Matt, did you get a chance to look at this?
I did, and my only concern was the neighbor's tree. They have a couple trees pretty near the line of disturbance. So I don't know if, you know, how close you're going to be to like running construction and stuff or near that line. If it's not going to be like involved with those trees, that's fine the way it is. But if it is, I would like some protection for the neighbors. Just to think, you know, there's tree protection down by the 60-inch maple, I think that is.
You talking about the Halpern residence?
Yes.
Yep, correct. Yep.
Yes, you know, I couldn't tell, but I couldn't tell how the construction is going to impact those trees. But if it's possible that it will, I would protect them in some way, Chris.
Okay, yeah, we could add some additional. We do show some for the 60-inch maple, but we could show some tree protection fencing by that 21-inch pine as well.
Okay, if you think it's necessary.
Matt, I have it up on Google Earth here. It looks like that 60-inch maple, probably a red maple, and the 21-inch oak.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're pretty far away.
Okay.
Yeah, they're far enough away. Yep.
And Matt, were there any concerns with the trees out front here by the right of way?
No, I mean they're like John says, they're pretty much out of the area of disturbance, I think.
Yep.
Okay. Great. Any other comments or questions from the commission? All right, so approved with that one minor addition around the 21-inch pine.
If necessary, right?
If necessary, correct. So all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Chris, appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
All right, next on the agenda is 227 Windermere Avenue. So who on the line do we have to represent?
Michael Neilio from Anthony and Sylvan Pools.
Hi, Michael, how are you?
Okay.
So ingress, egress, where you're moving dirt and tree protection. Which page, sir?
So if you go down to the street, yeah, that's page 1. If you go to page 2, it's got the tree protection silt fence detail, entrance detail. There you go.
Sure.
So we're coming in on off of the road on the left-hand side. Have our stone construction entrance in there. All the way up the left-hand side, the only thing from a vegetation standpoint is right on the property line, a little 6-inch tree there and a 4-inch tree. Nothing else until we get obviously to the backyard where the pool's gone. We show our limited disturbance around the whole project plus our silt fence. And the closest tree obviously is this 48-inch tree right here, which the homeowner wants to do this project without removing that tree. And we have,
Michael, what about the 18-inch tree that's right below the pool equipment? Is that area where the pool equipment is going to be a patio, or is that correct? Yeah, that tree right there. Right above that, is that going to be a patio, or what's going on above there?
you mean above the 6-inch
Correct. Yep.
where the pool equipment is?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's an area we usually level out. It's 8x5. We compact fresh stone on that 8x5 area and put down 2 precast pads. Precast plastic pads right there that the equipment sits on. So that's going to be pretty level with the elevation. So it's not really pretty far from the 18-inch, maybe close to the 6-inch, but we're not digging into the earth there.
Got it. Got it.
That little 6-inch is the only one within the limited disturbance, but it has tree protection around it. The 6-inch tree there. The pool kind of fits right in there because in the back of the property is an existing stormwater system, and then we have stormwater designed for the pool. So our pool edge is about 20 feet off of the trunk of that 48-inch tree.
Matt, were you able to take a look at this property?
Yeah, I really couldn't see anything from the street, so I was just looking at the plan on this one. And my only real concern was the 2 trees on the construction access side. There isn't any protection on those. So I don't know if that could be added there. That's pretty close. I mean, for.
Yeah, you usually do. Yeah, it can be added. That's not a problem. I'll have them add the tree protection.
So we're going to note the 6-inch tree is going to have protection, and it looks to be a 4-inch tree, correct?
Yes.
Also, this is the homeowner, Nicole. Back by the pool, that 6-inch tree has been removed.
Okay.
So in that case, technically, according to the ordinance, anywhere from a 6 to an 18-inch tree does need to have 1 replacement tree planted. And that's 6 inches measured at diameter at breast height. So unfortunately, it's already been removed, but did you take a measurement at breast height by chance?
Seth, I don't believe they need to replace that. It's only if they did 5 trees or more.
Correct.
That is correct. My
But they're-
apologies.
As a homeowner, they can do that.
My apologies. We would like to see the tree replaced, though. I will say that.
Yes, agreed.
Okay, so we're recommending tree protection on the 4 and 6-inch. Matt or John, any concerns with this large tree in the back? It looks like, if anything, there's going to be dirt and material added versus dug down in. So root disturbance technically should be minimal.
Yep.
Okay. And obviously just recommend getting that protection fence as close to the drip line as possible, but it looks like you already are recommending that according to the plans. All right, before we vote for approval, any other questions or comments? All good. All in favor with those 2 additional protections added? Aye. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good luck.
All right, moving down to 413 Windlehaven Road.
Patrick Halen, and I'm an engineer from Mom Inc. and I'll be presenting 413 Wildhaven.
Great, welcome, Patrick. So just ingress, egress, where you'll be moving dirt around, and tree protection. Which page would you like?
So we'll start at sheet 1. So you pan over, you can see the asphalt drive that comes in off of Wild Haven. They'll be utilizing that to get to the work area, which will be in the rear of the property. So the next sheet is sheet 2, which will show the proposed pool. So the ENS sheet will show more details about how they'll get back into the site from that end of the driveway. But this is general what they're going to be doing. They're going to be excavating the dirt. They'll be constructing the pool and patio, this retaining wall, the equipment pad, and the required stormwater management system, just a small infiltration trench. So they'll be excavating the dirt back to put in that patio, and they'll also be doing a little bit of grading behind that retaining wall to divert stormwater downhill and away from the pool patio. So that's if you pan down on the sheet, that's just the those little swales right there. And on the third sheet, which is our erosion and sedimentation control sheet, that's our proposed limit disturbance. There's the construction entrance coming off of the rear of the driveway. And this also shows the tree protection fencing. They are going to be removing one 15-inch stump, but there are no other tree removals on this property that we are proposing. We are going to try to save this 21-inch magnolia, which is backed by the lower left-hand corner of the pool patio. The other technically impacted trees are the 22-inch tree, kind of like on the left-hand side. Just the drip lines technically are clipped by the disturbance. They'll just be building the stormwater management system there. It'll be outlaying to a level spreader. The other impacted trees are the 9-inch dogwood, which is next to and immediately adjacent to the pool patio. And the other 2 trees are technically disturbed, but they're not really going to be disturbed. They pan down the sheet. It's just the 40-inch maple and the 36-inch twin maple. We do wrap the drip lines with tree protection fencing, but it's mainly just some grading to come down to the swales. That's why we're indicating that those will be impacted because of the drip lines.
Do you know how about how many inches of dirt you're going to be covering down to this area?
There's no grading going on back there.
Oh, okay. Misunderstood. Okay. And this 15-inch tree that was previously removed?
Yeah, the tree was previously removed. Our survey picked up a 15-inch stump.
Understood. Well, thanks for going through that. Matt, were you able to do a site visit?
I was. I didn't see much, but looking at the plan, Seth, I mean, the tree protection is impeccable. This is what I want to see every time on a plan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this looks great. I agree. And just one quick thought on the stormwater management on the left over here. Could you speak a little bit more in detail what's happening here?
So we haven't gotten any comments back from Andrew Zerby yet, but this is less than 1,500 square foot of new additional or replacement impervious. So we just are being required to do some infiltration for the 2-year stormwater management that's required by the ordinance. We're routing stormwater from the pool patio and a little bit of the yard area to that infiltration trench, and then we're routing it around the house to a level spreader so it can discharge to grade in an unconcentrated manner and flow down to Wild Haven Road.
Sure, thank you. Okay, I don't have any further questions. Any other questions from the commission?
Just really jealous of all the pools going in right now.
Great. I think we should add into the ordinance that we get a free pool pass
Yeah,
for any approved pool.
agreed.
For the entire summer.
That's right. All right. All right, guys. All in favor of approving as is?
Aye,
Aye.
nice work.
Yes, thank you, sir. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right, moving on to 443 Barclay Road. And who do we have to represent this property?
Dave Fiorello from Momini.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I am very good. How about yourself?
Doing all right. All right.
We
so
have another pool.
Another pool. All right. So ingress, egress, dirt being moved, and any tree protection.
Well, one thing I wanted to point out is that this project was in front of the shade tree a couple of years ago for the new house construction. As part of that plan, there was a pool that was proposed. As part of that, that pool was never constructed. The permit was closed out. Now the homeowner is coming in with the pool, slightly different configuration than the previous plan. But I wanted to point out that the shade tree has pretty much seen this before. In this plan here, if you go to, I think sheet 2 shows the proposed pool. In this corner down there. Their access, I think, is shown on the 3rd sheet, which comes in through the existing driveway.
We maximize this
And
plan a
then-
little bit.
Yep.
So we're coming in through the existing driveway and coming around and putting the pool. This is generally the same location as it was before, but the other pool was more of a free-form pool, and this is more of a rectangular pool. So we've got really no trees per se with this in this backyard.
Okay. Are there any trees up towards the ingress, egress where construction equipment may be coming in and out?
There is a tree along the front. I think if you maybe go back to the prior sheet, there is a tree in the front yard, a 42-inch maple that was preserved when the house was put in. Existing maple tree. So I think they're far enough away from the driveway that we shouldn't have any issues.
Okay. Matt, were you able to do a site visit?
I did not make Barclay Road. I didn't see any tree protection fencing, and then I looked and I didn't see any trees except the 2 at the front. So I'm not sure we have, I'm not sure we have a tree protection issue.
Sure. Yeah, and it looks like these two are far enough away from the drive where no issues there. Okay. Anyone else have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Dave.
Yes, thank you. All approved.
For the next one.
All in favor of approval? Aye.
Right.
Thank you, guys. All right, thank you, sir. Moving on to 767 and 769 Newtown Road. Bring up those plans.
That's me again.
All right. And same spiel.
Same spiel. This is one of the existing twin houses that was part of the Ardrossan Farm, which is located along Newtown Road. This was actually part of the Ardrossan subdivision. It was assigned its own lot. Again, it's an existing twin house, and you may recall seeing that with twin garages on either side. The proposal here is to demolish the 2 existing garages, remove the walkways and items that are shown in red on this plan, and then construct new garages in the same general location, and addition off of the back of the building. And that is shown on sheet 2 of your plans. So the garages were actually shifted away from where the old garages were. We were in front of the zoning hearing board last year, got zoning approval for the placement of the garages and the building addition. We're utilizing the same openings in the wall along Newtown Road for the driveways. We're basically using the same driveways, but the buildings have been moved away from the cluster of trees that are in that general area. And where those foundations were, we're carefully going back and adding a gravel driveway in those locations. We have a stormwater system that's shown, I guess, where you have your arrow, or you have your cursor. That is a subsurface system. We're collecting roof runoff from the buildings, from the driveways in where we can, taking them to that system. That provides both groundwater recharge and stormwater rate control. We are removing a couple trees, and I think on the first sheet, if you want to go back to that one, we have a list on, as you scroll down the sheet on the left side, we have a list of 4 trees being removed. I'm sorry, 3 trees. One of them is a 36-inch maple, which is a heritage tree. So we're providing, the intent was to try to save that, but with the building addition coming out the back and the proximity to that tree, we didn't feel that it was viable to keep that tree. So that tree is being removed, along with a couple other trees, I think closer to the front of the site in the area. There's a small oak tree, I guess, sort of in the northeast corner.
So a total of 3 trees for a total replacement.
Total
of
of 3
8.
trees coming out.
Yep.
Yeah. So we have
8 replacement. Yep.
Yeah, we're proposing 8 new replacement trees. We're showing trees on the plan. They do have a landscape architect involved here. They're coming up with a landscape plan. I know the one plan is to establish a row of evergreens along the back of the property, but we're also showing the required replacement trees that are required for the ordinance. And that's on sheet 2, I believe.
So all of the green trees are the proposed new trees,
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Yes. So, and then sheet 3, we have our erosion sediment control plan, which should include all our tree protection. So we have tree protection around. We're trying to protect the trees in the area of work. We have tree protection around the areas of where the old garages were, and those areas again will be proposed pavement, but that pavement is gravel. We're proposing gravel in lieu of asphalt in those areas there. So we have tree protection elsewhere and around the trees that we're trying to preserve or propose to preserve. And all that is shown there on the plan.
Hey, Dave, do you know what species of maple that is, the 36-inch?
No, I don't. I'm afraid I don't.
And condition of the tree is, I couldn't tell. So is it average? I mean, that's an old tree. So
At Matt, out there at a Drawson, there's a ton of large Norways out there.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's certainly not that's not going to be an issue, I don't think, taking that.
Okay. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm not a tree guy.
No, I mean, if it's a 36-inch sugar in great shape, you don't
Oh
want
yeah, sure, I agree with you. But as John said, I think, these trees have been out there. You may recall there was with the one storm we had back then, there was I think a tree on top of one of the garages there. So, and they probably have not been taken care of over the years. With the new owner in there, I know he is very intent on preserving the area and doing what he needs to do to make that piece of property a nice piece of property.
Yeah, I noticed that it says Mr. Hoffman is the property owner,
Yes,
and I believe he has a few other properties in the area, and he does a really nice job with them. So I'm sure it's going to turn out beautiful.
I know we've done a lot of work for David over the years, and he is a stickler for detail.
Yeah.
So the replacement formula does check out regardless of if it's required or not in this case. So appreciate the replacement trees. Any concerns, Matt or John, regarding the tree protection?
Not at all.
No, it looks good.
Great. Any other questions or comments from the commission? Great. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Enjoy.
All right, moving on. 220 Lennar. Who do we have representing that property?
David and Susan Miska, homeowners.
Hello, good evening.
Hey.
All right, so if you could walk us through ingress and egress of your projects, any dirt being moved, and then any tree protection that you may need.
Well, actually, we were told that we would only have to address the tree issues, so we can't talk about dirt removal, although dirt is to be removed.
Okay, yeah, if you could just walk us through generally where that is on the plans, I'll zoom in.
Yeah,
just
enlarge the sheet, please.
Sure. Page 1?
Page 2, I think.
Okay.
This one is good. Yeah. Yeah, I guess the issue is the soil that is being removed for the addition on the back. And I guess temporarily it's going to be stored in that stockpile indicated and eventually removed.
Yeah, so our main concern as the Shade Tree Commission is, per Steve's opening statements, if there's a certain amount of cubic yards of soil being moved around, then that prompts us to review your plans. And mainly what we're looking for is any disturbed trees near the soil that's going to be moved around. We just need to call that out. And any equipment that may be coming in and out of the property, and any trees that are near that ingress and egress, making sure we have tree protection around those.
Yes, we understand that. There are 2 trees that we intend to remove at the front of the property because they are not in good shape. The first one is that spruce there. The second one is that what's indicated as a maple. It's actually a hawthorn.
Okay. And then as far as equipment moving in and out of the property, assuming through the drive on the left-hand side here?
That's correct.
Okay. So it looks like this other tree,
It won't be impacted at all.
it won't be impacted. It looks like it's within a flagstone walk area,
And it's a 6-inch maple.
6-inch maple.
Yeah.
It's actually a service berry.
Okay.
Gotcha. Matt, were you able to visit the property?
I did not go by Lenore.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? The 2 trees that are being removed, do we have a size for them?
Yes.
Yes, it should be on the plans there. The spruce
10
is
inch.
10 inch, and what's called a maple is 6 inch.
Thank you.
So in looking at this, I'm not seeing any requirement of tree protection. Matt and John, would you agree?
I agree.
That's
Great.
correct.
Okay. Any of the other commission members have any questions or comments? All good. All right. All in favor? Aye.
Right.
Great. Thank you very much. Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
I would also just like to just mention that as of right now, we have not received any public comment for anything.
Great, thank you, Trish. All right, moving down the agenda, 208 to 210 Aberdeen. And Trish, is that the one where we received updated plans for?
Yes.
Okay, let me pull those up quickly. Give me 1 minute.
Just for your information, the applicant was before Planning Commission earlier this month.
Understood. Thank you, Matt. All right, who do we have on the line for this property?
Hi, I am Christy Flynn with Rockwell.
Hi,
And
Christy.
hi, good evening. Thank you for having me. And we have Patrick Spellman with us, as well as Ann Walters, who is the landscape architect.
Great.
So
Yep, go ahead, take her
I was
away.
going to
Ingress,
say, why don't you
egress.
go down to the next sheet,
Sure.
and then we can talk. Why don't you go down to the next one? I'll introduce the project and then there we go. So this property is on North Aberdeen, on the north side of the railroad bridge, and it was formerly used by the American Pool Company. And there is an existing home on the far north side that you might not have ever even noticed because it's covered in tree and bushes in the front there. And then there's a large privacy fence that runs the length of the front of the property. The property falls from North Aberdeen in the front, which is on your right-hand side on your plan here, down lower on the left-hand side towards the rear property line. So we are proposing 6 townhomes here. It is a C3 zoning, and there's a C3 zoning amendment pending because it is a mixed-use area now in reality, and we've received positive recommendations from the Planning Commission for both the plan and that zoning. We have a scheduled hearing before the commissioners for the zoning ordinance, and then we would be before them with the plan. So tonight we came to speak with you about the trees. I think that if Matt has been by the site, if any of you have been by the site, it's really essentially a junkyard that has been here for a very long time, and there's some weed trees that have fought their way through. Over a long time, they've gotten fairly large, but there's nothing of anything that could be defined as superb quality here.
I would agree, Christy.
Thank you. And so I would turn it over to Patrick, or Patrick can talk about probably access, and then Ann, perhaps you would talk about our new plan for the replacements.
Okay, so we would access the property on the lower right there. You'll see a construction entrance. There are 16 trees. As Chris said, there's a slope there. We'll have to cut down to get down to the rear of the property, which is relatively flat from that point back. There's a total of 16 trees. The tree replacement formula is on Ann's landscape plans. So most of the cutting and filling is going to happen in the front of the property, where you see all these red X's for the trees that are coming out, and where the townhouses will be built. If you go to the lower left corner, you'll see a tree we're saving, and there's the tree protection fencing. It's hard to see around the property, but there it comes off the limit of disturbance. It's the line with the square on it. As we try to save that tree, and then in the upper left, there's 2 more trees that we'll be trying to save.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any further questions about ingress, egress before we move on to the replacement plan. Does anyone else have any questions about ingress, egress, disturbance? Okay, so we can move on to the replacement. What page?
That would be sheet 5. It may be a second file. There you go.
Great. All right. And if you could walk us through this, it looks like we have the formula on the right here. I'll go ahead and zoom in. So let's first take a look at the formula, and then we can look at the trees themselves.
Anne, are you there? Do you want to go through this, or
Sure.
would you like me?
I'm happy to. I was just waiting for it to come up there. So we're have a list here of the sizes of the trees and the proposed replacement trees required, so that you can see that 6 to 18 inch removed requires 1 replacement tree, 19 to 29, 3 replacement trees, 2 being large canopy trees. Trees to be removed 13 total at 6 to 18 inches in caliper, and 3 at 19 to 29 inches in caliper. So trees required to be replaced, total 13 plus 9 equals 22 trees at 2.5 inch caliper. And what we're providing is 22 trees at 2.5 inches in caliper with a minimum of 6 feet in height.
Okay. The only thing we would normally like to see is with the 19 to 29 inch, 2 being large canopy. I'm sure you'll talk through this, but just calling out which trees will be large canopy trees.
Okay, I'll do my best to show that.
Great. Okay. I'll do the math on the side just to make sure that looks good. But if you could then walk us through visually what we're looking at for replacements.
Well, the nature of the site requires us to offer some perimeter landscaping buffering that will enhance the site and be, somewhat sensitive to the perimeters and neighbors and such. But we're obviously the plant material proposed is along the property lines, and we have included a number of, and I can pull the plans, but we're using green giant arborvitae. One second.
The plant list is on
that
page
screen
6.
doesn't, kind of lose some of that on the screen. We're using.
There is a plant list on there.
Yeah, on page 6, upper right corner.
Page 6. Got it.
There we go. Thank you.
Perfect.
So we're using trident maples, 2 of them, because of their attributes as great street trees. They're the perfect size. They're ideal for the conditions that we have out on North Aberdeen Avenue. But toward the back of the property, the replacement, those are street trees. The replacement trees include willow oak, American holly, and green giant arborvitae, for a total of 22 trees there.
Okay.
We're also including a buffer screen that includes Acer rubrum, red sunset maple, willow oak, and again, green giant arborvitae to provide some privacy and buffering and screening.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
all of the sizes of the plant material are indicated clearly in the plant list. 2.5 inch caliper where it's appropriate, 6 foot high for evergreens, back to the deciduous trees 10 to 12 feet in height. So I think we meet the requirements in terms of size. Placement, once again, I've tried to be clear, but we're offering a variety of native trees that are going to have seasonal interest without overtaking the very limited amount of space that we have on the edges of this very tight site.
Great. Thank you for running through that. And yes, according to the math, so we need at least 6 large canopy trees, which looks like we have that. So we're all set from the formula side of things. Matt, any questions, or John, any questions or comments about the selected species?
They look good, and part of the reason that I think, Christy, if I'm wrong, tell me, but you created parking amenities for the neighborhood in the front of this property, and that explains why there's not a lot of street trees there, because parking is so valuable and important in this neighborhood.
That's exactly right, Matt. But we have street trees at these bump outs that are on either end of the homes, but there's currently no street trees in those locations because there is one long curb cut as it stands. And we are providing on-street parking, but with a bump out to improve traffic flow in that area. And so we determined that it was just not reasonable to slam those trees up against the houses in those locations, and that the parking was more important in that spot.
Totally understandable and correct.
And just so that if the Shade Tree Commission, if you have the opportunity, so this fell under the C3 zoning amendment that, you know, Matt had mentioned, we've been before the Planning Commission. I would urge you to drive by the property in its current state. And, you know, this is an example of redevelopment where we get a couple of things. One, you get an infusion of, you know, redeveloped property into an area that replaces what I guess I would say is a blighted property. Two, you get stormwater management where there was none. So anywhere in Wayne that you can get stormwater management where there was none is a great thing. And it's a tough site. The area in the back is pretty narrow, and you know we always meet with the applicants, and I think they did the best they could with the site as it is. So then we're also going to get, the third item we get is trees that come from our list that are proper for the area and the climate, and so it's starting anew somewhat.
Thank you, Steve.
One question, Matt, you said I remember you saying something about your tree survey, the Trident maples, they did very well in the area, is that?
Yeah, exceptionally well.
They're the ones, okay. I just want to make sure.
Absolutely great street tree.
Yeah, okay.
Great. I agree. This looks like a great project to revitalize this little nugget of Wayne. Appreciate it. Does anybody else on the commission have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Christy, for a great job, and your consultants. Excellent.
Yes, appreciate it. All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
And gals.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. All right, so that takes us to the end of grading permits. Trish, there weren't any that snuck in, correct? I think we covered them all. All right. So agenda item number 5, tree removal without approval, none at this time. Same with clearing permits.
Did we have a, Trish, was there another comebacker on this agenda?
Yes. 235 South Wayne.
Yes. Do we have someone from 235? Okay.
Can you see me?
Yes. Before we get to you though, I just want to just state for the record, item number 6, violation notices, not at this time. 7, old business. We'll skip ahead to 235 South Wayne, just so we can get that going, and then we'll get back to the fall tree planting. So let me bring up the plans here quickly. And if I remember correctly, what we were just asking for last time was just some sort of drawing indication as to for the plan, correct? So welcome. If you could go ahead and just refresh our memories with the project and why you're here and impact to trees.
Sure, and I apologize. My drawing obviously isn't as nice as the other drawings and diagrams, but just to recap, we have a very large oak tree that is not in the greatest of shape in terms of vines, and it overhangs probably about 1/3 of the house, overhangs a lot of the driveway, and it was just becoming increasingly dangerous. So the way it was left last month's meeting was that I was just asked to do a very simple, freehand kind of diagram of potential replacement trees. So I had Peter Tracini from Tracini Landscaping, who's done work on our property, come by and sort of walk it, and sort of came up with a general plan along the perimeter of the backyard, basically planting maples as well as eastern redwoods and a dogwood in that area. So that's sort of what that indicates. It's, obviously not the greatest diagram in terms of scale and perspective, but it basically being generally the left back of the backyard and towards the back of the yard.
Sure. Yeah. No, thanks for going through this, and my memory has now been refreshed. If I recall, the pictures of this large tree, and I think John or Matt, you may have done a drive-by and
did,
saw
yeah.
it's
Tree was in poor condition.
poor
yeah.
shape. Yep, exactly. Steve, does this suffice for a drawing?
Well, one thing real quick. We're just
Sure.
going to need to see the sizes, or Ms. Sherwin can make note that we're going to have the correct sizes placed on this little drawing here of the trees to be installed.
Sure. And the removal of the tree, if you
Correct.
could indicate that size too.
Yeah, I would say that's about 28 inches, I believe, 20, 29, maybe up to 30 at the greatest.
Okay. And Steve, as long as we get the dimensions on here, does this suffice for what we need? I think we lost Steve, potentially.
Hey, Seth.
Yes.
One thing, Chad, when I was looking at the site with your wife, the oak tree, there's some very nice saplings very close to the oak tree you're taking out. If there's some way that your tree company can surgically do this, and those saplings are nice and they're big, and they're like bigger than the trees you're going to put in, and so even saving one or two of those in that area close to your neighbor's yard would be something that you should consider, I think.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was even an option, but that was always our intention. So that wasn't something you could even mention, but we're not looking to take down the saplings. We're just looking to take down the oak tree and leave the saplings alone.
Great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think what we were looking for last meeting was, something simple like this. I think we could go ahead and approve this with the revisions of, just making sure, Chad, that you provide the dimensions, just so we can get that on the record.
As a layperson, not knowing a ton about it, I imagine when these trees are planted, they're planted at a certain size. So when you say dimensions, what exactly am I looking to tell you?
Sure. So yeah, our recommendation is to plant 2 to 2.5 inch diameter by breast height trees. So that would be measuring them from standing up, and in this case, being if it does get into the 30-inch realm, that's where we get into the heritage tree 6 replacement tree recommendation. So those are the size trees we recommend.
Well, if you just tell me what, I'm sure the landscape will probably all this and probably that's what he was always intending on doing. But if you just tell me what dimensions you needed, I'll certainly add it to this and resend it back. My concern is just that I want to, it's very hard to get trees to cut down because of some of the storms and things are so backed up. And we would really, if we're going to cut down this oak, we want to do it before the winter, or at least December kind of timetable. So I certainly don't want to end up getting bumped so far down the road with these tree companies that whatever I need to do to give you that information, I just want to get that taken care of.
Yep.
Sure. Yeah. We can get over to you, our recommended tree list along with the diameters. And then also if you could just, just confirm the size of the oak. So, just take a measurement and see if it's 28, 29, whatever it is. And then
Chad, if you would like, you can reach out to me tomorrow via email, and I'll walk you through putting together a little sheet that then I can then present to the shade tree at the next meeting, which you will not need to attend.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks so much. I'll do that. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, John.
Yep.
Okay, so any questions or comments? I think we can go ahead and approve this with those contingencies of making sure the specifics of measurements are provided.
One thing, Seth.
Sure.
I would just say to since the homeowner was good enough to come to the shade tree and everything, just do a reminder if they don't know the ordinance that the tree company that they do use should be a registered company in the township, and there is a list that Patricia can give to the homeowners. Just a heads up.
Yeah, the tree companies, they're a tree company. I think they're registered.
Very good.
Stay away from anything that starts with a G.
Exactly.
All right.
Thanks, John.
All right. So approved with the mentioned revisions? Aye.
Aye.
And thank you. And thank you, John, for offering to help out the homeowner. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right. So back to the fall tree planting. Ginny, would you like to provide an overview as to where we're at with that?
We are ready to go. Just waiting to hear from the township as to when the trees will be available to plant. I'd like to get out a memo to all the registrants so they have an expectation as to next steps.
So real quick, Ginny, if I may, just not to cut you
Hold
short
on,
there.
John. Let me jump in for a second. So
Oh, okay,
I emailed Ginny. So this is out to bid as we speak.
That's what I was going to say.
Before the Board of Commissioners on the 9th for award. Once that gets awarded, the contractor is going to get a email stating, please provide the following information, your certificate of insurance, blah, 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 a couple bonds. Then they'll be given a notice to proceed. Upon that, and that really depends on the quickness of the contractor. Once we get that notice to proceed, we get his schedule, and John and I have talked. There's going to be substitutions because of the time of year. Once that all occurs, then we can get Ginny an idea of a schedule and when the trees are going in. But that's after November 9th.
Wow, so I need to communicate to these guys, these registrants, before November 9th. So they have a comfort level that we haven't forgotten about them. Because a lot of them signed up back in September,
Well, the thing is, we didn't get the list. It's to be honest, we spoke about this in July, June and July, and I put it out as quickly as I could from when I got the list. So for moving forward, this is something we should really do at the end of the summer or no later than September. So we're not in this situation now.
Yeah.
You'll have a better selection of trees. And we discussed all that. But, it was a lot of hard work by everybody, and it was meeting with the WBA and all that.
Yeah, meeting with the WBA slowed things up a bit, but it's all good. We're all going to get a lot of good trees in.
It's a great program. It's the most we've ever planted. It's a great job done by the Shade Tree Commission. But for next year, really, we should start in early summer, get the list, go to bid end of August, and then we're good to go.
At the latest.
I would say, Ginny, is just tell the folks, sometime late November, early December is when you could expect your tree to be planted.
Okay. John, are we going to do the stakes again this year like we did last year? Because I remember you were talking to me about maybe doing a stake instead of the flags.
That is our objective. That's what we talked about earlier, just because the flags were getting pushed over by the leaf vacs and the mowers and all that good stuff. So we were going to do a stake with white ribbon, which will also be an indicator for the contractor and will also be an indicator for the PA1 call for the excavation area. That has to be completed by the company.
Okay, and will the contract, who's going to provide the stakes? Are we going to run around and give them the stakes?
So I do have my notes here, and it says that you guys were going to do the same thing before. You were going to split it up and go out to each property and put the stakes in the ground.
Okay. So maybe what I can do in the interim is send them out this sort of instruction sheet on what's going to happen and give them the anticipated plant date. So at least they know what's going on and that we haven't forgotten about them.
Ginny, you might,
Ginny,
Ginny, you might want to, just to keep their expectations high, I mean, the plan's going to go through, the project's going to go through in the next month or so here. So why don't you put the stakes out now, and we can take pictures of where the stakes are going to be, just to, you know, expedite the process.
Okay. I mean, we're not concerned the stakes are gonna.
No, they're going to be wooden stakes, and I'll purchase them and I'll get them up to the township building for you.
Great idea.
Okay.
I have a question. Can I ask a question? So is there any way that we can expedite having the contractor have a heads up, even though we're waiting for approval, so that as soon as that approval is taken, that they know that the turnaround?
So what this is a sealed bid. So we won't, so when the sealed bid is opened, if you will, on Penn Bid, that's when we're going to know who the contractor is. And
okay.
So it's really the contractor will know based on what he sees on Penn Bid that they are the apparent low bidder. We do have to review everything and make sure they are the low bidder. Sometimes they aren't. So it's really not very close until close until the 9th that we would know who that was. Now, what I normally do is, in a case like this, the night of the when they get the award, while they're getting their bonds, insurance certificates, et cetera, together, waiting for the notice to proceed, we will have them start working on the tree stock with John. Because like I said, there's going to be substitutions because of the time of year we're in. There's no way out of that. So we'll get that rolling, but it won't be official until they get the notice to proceed. That really hinges on them getting the documents into the township that we need to finalize the contract. So we'll do it as quickly as we can, but really nothing's going to happen until the 9th.
Okay. I also want to note that I have a note in my a calendar that we met, the Shade Tree and WBA met on June the 24th. So we did meet quite early in the summer.
Steve, you're on mute.
Unfortunately, the list wasn't given to me till a few weeks ago. So that's how we have to. And I think there was a lot of meetings. I was at the one you were at, Claire, but I believe Eileen met with them several times afterwards. She put a lot of hard work into this. So it wasn't just the one meeting.
Yeah.
So all this didn't roll around till October. So I guess what I'm saying is, whether you're going to do the WBA or you're just going to do the resident planting, we can get that information out to the residents in the spring who wants a tree, and then we can bid this earlier. We'll get a better selection of trees and we can get the job done earlier. But there's no blame on why we're working late. It was a huge project and it was a lot of work by the Shade Tree Commission working with the WBA. I don't want it to come off like that. What I'm saying is we should start much earlier, because that June meeting was only the one of many that I was at with you.
It's a good learning curve, Steve. Thank you for pointing that out. So for next year.
So Steve, on your bid, did you go out with the X number of flowering trees and large canopy as per the numbers I gave you from the residents and the ones that I don't know what Eileen submitted, to be honest. I don't remember.
That changed a couple times on Eileen's side, but on your side, so I basically put in the bid, the actual list. I didn't put names, but the addresses and the tree notations you had on the side.
Okay, so are we concerned, maybe we're going to be changing out the types of trees, but are we concerned that we won't get the number of flowering or the number of shade tree that we need, or we don't?
What we'll do is I will have so I'm a civil engineer, I'm not an arborist, so I will have the contractor work directly with John Hosback
Okay.
to take, the contractor is going to tell us, and James can talk to this as well as John, what kind of stock is available, right? And from that available stock, they're going to say, here's what I can get. And I would have him work with John for what would be acceptable substitutions.
Okay. Okay. So, John, you're thinking a couple of weeks before we would know if we had any issues? After November 9th?
So yes, I mean, it's going to be definitely after 9th because they're going to get awarded, as Steve pointed out. And then as soon as that contractor is awarded, they're going to start sourcing material. And at that point, they will start pushing back with questions and concerns regarding the species content. We'll have to revise. I'm hoping that's very quickly, probably, and I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, Steve, once they're awarded, am I allowed to contact them immediately just to discuss this with them?
So what we'll do is once the board awards it, it's going back to what I said earlier, while they're getting their bonds and documents together, we will reach out to them because the time is so short.
Got it. Perfect.
At that point, we will find out who the low bidder is, who the contact person is. We'll set up a Teams meeting for the three of us, John, and as well as Dennis. And then from there, I'll say, look, you guys work out the tree list based on stock and availability. And then we'll need a final list from the contractor saying, here's what I'm providing and where.
Perfect.
Okay,
but Ginny, I would plan, Ginny, let's get those stakes out.
Yeah.
So that when the contractor is awarded, they're already in the ground and he can go out and start getting stuff moving.
So, John,
can I just also say, I've been getting a lot of calls regarding the trees and when they're being planted, and
I know,
if we forget about them. And so I think it's a great idea to at least put the stakes out. I know some people were like, well, I want to know where they're going, and can we change where if they want them in a different spot, so on and so forth. So I agree. I think that the stakes would be a good idea to get out as quickly as possible.
So Ginny, if I may, I request that not this upcoming week, possibly, excuse me, the following week. If you can poll everybody, let's set up an evening time like we did before. We'll break into groups of 3 or 4. Everybody go their separate way, and we'll put the stakes in the ground. I'll deliver the stakes and the ribbon.
Yeah, I'll volunteer to drive around and plop some stakes.
Yep.
Okay.
So I could just add one thing.
That's the first week of November then, John.
Yep.
The week after Halloween.
One thing I'd like to add, so if the shade tree moves forward in this fashion next year, the resident planting program it's a set program and it moves along very quickly. Whereas the other portion of the contract really took a lot of work, a lot of it by Eileen and other shade tree members, meeting with, throughout Wayne for the summer and the fall. So even though we were looking for economies of scale, we can actually do these as 2 separate contracts. And I think that would expedite things for the residents, right?
Great idea.
I totally agree, Steve.
Great idea.
You put the notice out like in March and say, hey folks, who wants a tree? We go through all that. And then they can be sourcing trees in August and planting in September.
Yeah, that would be ideal.
I agree. One quick thing we need to make sure we go through from Eileen. So we have 9 extra trees because we can't plant in certain areas. Ginny, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we have some additional registrants past the close count?
We did. And John, actually, a lot of them at the end were ones that you had added, which you took off because we were oversubscribed. We could put your guys back on.
Yep. Is that Montrose?
Yes.
No, I don't think Montrose we took off.
No, Montrose is in the bid.
Yeah, they were on there from the beginning.
Okay. How many? Do you remember, Steve? How many trees in total you bid out?
I'd have to go back and look, but I would say at this point, let's go with what we have. And then we can always talk to the contractor about doing others. Honestly, I got confused with the various lists that came through. So I'd like to see it just get awarded and we go from there.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Absolutely.
And
We can do a change order or something.
Exactly.
we
So
need to,
what I'm saying is we'll get them in, but we'll just do it afterwards.
okay. We need to find homes for Frank's PHS trees too, because John, you advised me that they're a different caliber than the ones that we promised the residents.
Yeah, they're bare root. They're smaller.
Yeah.
I did get a call from Mr. Simmons. He spoke with Frank, and I believe he was going to follow up with me on some areas where they wanted those trees. And I believe he talked about parks for those, but which we do need some trees for sure.
Okay, then I'm not going to consider any of those to satisfy any of the resident requirements. I'll leave that in your bailiwick then, John.
You got it. I'll work with Simmons and township staff on those.
Okay.
And Frank. Frank's not on here tonight, right?
Right.
No.
Yep.
So that would be 11 trees, correct? Or
12.
Well, I believe that there was one resident who did contact us about.
You're
the
right. You're
interest in
right.
the tree.
You're right, Trish. But he
About a
got,
bare root?
yeah,
Yes.
he got 12 more. So you really have 23 you're finding homes for.
Okay.
I have a quick question. Going off of the last, I think it was the last meeting, the Eileen had in her budget for 70 trees, residents 70 for WBOD.
Yeah, what was it? It was
60.
yeah, 60 and then 70 for the residents.
Yeah.
And
60
the bid
WBA.
that
Yeah.
went out is for like much more than that.
Yeah,
What's
we
that,
ended up with,
James?
I think we ended up with 83 if I remember.
So
How does
James,
that work out?
what's on the bid? I'll be going back through Eileen's, like I say, and Eileen did a yeoman's job on this. She really did a lot of work. I'll be going through that and going back through her emails. If I need to issue an addendum to line up the trees, that's fine. I'll go based on, so the resident trees are the resident trees. I have the list that's out there. I'll double back on the WBA, take a look at that, and then we'll bid it. And so there's a couple things everybody needs to remember. Hopefully everything comes within budget, right? And if that's the case, we're good. If all the bids are over budget, then we have to see what we can do about that. If the bids are less than we thought, we have the ability to plant more trees or keep more money in the shade tree fund for next year. So really a lot's going to be telling. We'll find out a lot the first week of November.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else on the fall tree planting? Otherwise, we'll move on. Sounds like we have some things to check up on.
One thing I wanted to add, Seth, I thought it was just interesting, just FYI for everybody, that we asked where people heard about the fall planting, and none of them heard about it from the ads in the newspaper. So I think we can save ourselves $1,200 next year and just go with social media and our website and so forth.
Yeah, I like that plan too. Yeah, once a few people see it on Facebook, the word travels pretty quickly. So
That's great, Ginny, that you picked that up, because that's, following up on our advertisement is great. That's going to save us $1,200 next year.
Yeah.
Excellent job, Ginny.
Thanks.
And for the bare root trees, don't those trees have to be planted by the township?
That's what I was told. We're going to work those details out, Mr. Gibbons.
Okay.
Yeah, James, you're right. So Mike Simmons and his guys are going to pick them up down the Navy Yard, and then they're going to have to get them in within the next day. So that
Gotcha.
where is yet to be determined, but Mike knows that.
I got it. Okay.
Hey, Seth,
yeah.
unfortunately, I have another meeting at 8, so I'm going to have to leave you guys. Do you need me for a vote or anything?
I think 4 is a quorum, right?
Okay, so we're good?
4 is a quorum. Yeah, we should be okay.
Okay, sorry, everybody.
Claire.
Good to see you.
See you,
Thank
Claire.
you.
Thank
See you,
you.
Claire.
Okay. So John, thanks for offering to get the stakes. How does that work from a monetary perspective? Do we need the Shade Tree Commission budget cover that?
I got it, buddy.
All right, we'll buy a pizza and a beer sometime.
You got it.
All right.
They're engineering stakes. They come out of the engineers fund.
Got it.
That's a deep fund.
It is. All right.
Yeah.
So moving on to new business. So the proposed tree ordinance amendment.
So Seth, if I could just introduce it a little bit once
Sure.
you pull it up. So this is actually, we've been trying to get to this for months, and we almost had it last month, but the meeting got late. And I hope everybody's read it. So really, this is the Board of Commissioners came up with this, and once the Shade Tree Commission's input, do you like it? Are you okay with it? Do you have any changes of wording? And I want to tell you though, under the new administration at the township, we've already been following this pretty much, right? So that's why you've seen all the projects, all the capital projects, they've all come before you, right? Starting with the Hartford Trail, Morris Road, any capital project we're doing that involves trees, whether it be the removal, replacement, or planning of South Wayne parking lot. And I might interject, Matt Golis just submitted today a fantastic planning plan for the South Wayne parking lot. It's pretty special and a lot of work on his part. So, like I say, under the current administration, we have been following this, right? We've been doing this, but it's here before you tonight for your review, your comment. If you're okay with it, or if you have any changes, we would note that and take it back to the board. If you need to digest it and come up with any possible changes for next meeting, that'd be great. But it's been out there for so long, it'd be great if, let's say, by no later than the next meeting, we have any comments, changes, or suggestions you have on it. Unless you're fine with it tonight, or you can do it tonight. But I would request that we come up with something no later than the November meeting to go back to the Board of Commissioners with.
And Steve, for clarification for everybody, this is really just transparency on the township's part to make sure everybody's aware of any trees are going to be removed within the township.
So it gives the Shade Tree Commission some teeth, if you look at it.
Yep.
So I'm just going to, the township through its, and other employees shall not, the township through its commissioners, officers, staff, and other employees shall not remove trees at township expense, regardless of their location, without first presenting a plan of removal to the Shade Tree Commission. So we've been doing that, right? And this is not enacted, but setting forth a number of species of trees, basically our tree table. The Shade Tree Commission's actions on the plan shall be limited to approving the plan of removal, deferring action for a single 30-day period in which to obtain the comment of other township boards and commissions, so you would have to your next meeting, and or denying the plan of approval, stating the reason for such denial. If Seth could just, I actually have your pictures in the way. The proponent of the plan of approval may appeal a denial by the Shade Tree Commission to the Board of Commissioners by requesting the plan of removal be placed on a subsequent agenda. No specific form of appeal is required, but the appellant shall provide the board with the original plan. Important item, in the case of emergency trees, a plan of removal shall be submitted to the Shade Tree Commissions within 30 days after the removal has occurred. So like I say,
such as storm damage, all that good stuff.
or if there's an imminent tree that has to be done. So we've been following this, but if you guys look back at all the different things that's come before you, Odoricio Park, Conestoga Road, Morris Road, Hartford Trail, South Wayne parking lot. So we've been following this to get your input. I think it's great, because if we're involving trees, it should involve you folks, right? You're the Shade Tree Commission. But the good thing is, it actually gives the Shade Tree Commission teeth, if you will. So I'll leave you folks at that. And like I say, my real goal is just that no later than next meeting, we have whatever you want to go back to the commissioners.
No, this is great. I would just say, Steve, is this something we would have to vote on during a meeting like this to then proceed with getting it in front of the board? Or is this more of just it looks good, no revisions, here you go?
So they sent it to you. So let's say it goes with the second scenario and you voted, it would be whatever, unanimously voted to recommend, and I'll come up with the language, but unanimously voted to recommend enactment of the ordinance as it stands. And then I would put that on a next meeting agenda for the commissioners.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't want to vote on this as a commission without Eileen.
Understood.
So yeah, I agree. Let's get this on next month's agenda, and then to your recommendation, we'll make sure if we have any revisions, get those to you sooner than later so that they end up in the vote.
Right. So if you folks have revisions, what I would recommend you do is two things I can do. I can get you a live version and you do it, and everybody on the Shade Tree Commission gets it. And then it's an open document and everybody's comments are noted and we'll see them on the sidebar. And then that could be your basis for discussion when Eileen's back. Or you could just talk, but I would recommend, so we could have in the packet, if somebody has some big comments, so that you as a board see it when you're reviewing your packet for the next meeting to try to make sure we can get through it.
Sure.
Excellent.
Yeah, first glance, I'm not seeing any major red flags. Anyone else have any comment?
You could replace Bob Z with Bill White.
That's true. I'm sure that'll get updated.
It looks good to me, Seth.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I think it's exactly what we need.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you know what, it lives on after other administrations come and go.
Yep, good point.
Can we add a whereas? I think whereas John Hosback, Township Arborist, is responsible for any bad decisions the shade tree makes.
I think that's great. I would add that, James.
Touche, buddy.
Item
James,
B.
I've never heard you say whereas before.
Yes, the first time.
He can't even spell it.
James is a Renaissance man.
W-E-R.
So
all right, great.
Based on what Seth said, and I agree, I think, you should have your whole board here, especially your chair. So my recommendation is maybe for tonight, I just request that everybody read this. It will be back before you. And I will ask the solicitor to give us an open document. And we'll put it on OneDrive or something so that everybody is getting the one document. And we'll have a drop dead date. And then that'll go in your packet. And then when we pull it up, and it'll be for Eileen too, then everybody can see everybody's comments, if there are.
Great. That sounds like a plan. And I'll send a note to Eileen and the group specifically about this with that exact plan, just so we can make sure we get any thoughts before the meeting.
Great.
Great. All right. Thank you, Steve. Number 9, goals. Quick update from my end. So apologies for the very lengthy delay, but I am still working on the resident and contractor trifold guys. So we're obviously trying to get that wrapped up before the close of the budget year to get mailers sent out. But again, I wouldn't proceed with any of that without bringing those 2 documents before us for approvals. So that's still on my list. Anyone else have any goals, updates?
Can I just interrupt for a minute? For the ordinance, any changes or anything that you would like to review for next month, if I can ask that you send them to myself and to Eileen no later than the November 9th. So that will give me 2 days to put it together and get it posted.
Perfect. November 9th. I'll put that in my email that I send around. All right. Any goals, updates from anyone, or new business related items?
Frank and I would like to add, a short update discussion point to new business concerning conversation we had last week with the Practical Energy Solutions, which is working with the EAC on getting to a Ready for 100 plan, which is a clean electricity by 2035 and clean energy by 2050 in Radnor. And basically the reason we talked to them was they reached out to us about what we knew about canopy coverage in Radnor and what we knew about how we're measuring and what we're up to as a Shade Tree Commission. So we had this very seminal discussion with them about where we are and our goals to really be able to measure the canopy better. And they have some great stuff going on that sort of dovetails into that. So it would just be, Frank and I would just bring you guys up to date about sort of this, working, in tandem with EAC and this company about measuring canopy and how we do it. So
excellent.
Yeah, that's great, Matt. Trish, can we get that on the agenda for next meeting?
I put it in my notes already.
Great, thank you.
Matt, can you forward me some information on that?
Yes, I can, John.
Please do.
Great. All right, any other new business goal related items? No? Okay. Go ahead, James.
Is Steve still on?
Yes.
Hey, just a quick question about the tree removal program, because it was brought before us. Are we the board going to have any discussion on that, or do you just go right to the Board of Commissioners?
So I guess you guys saw that, right? That was brought before you last month?
Yes.
Right. So now the next step is to get the project awarded by the commissioners. So nothing's changed with what you've seen on that project. You saw the project. So the next step is that, and I'll update the commission at the next meeting and let you know that company X got it and they're starting at this time.
Okay. I just want to, I've seen the prices and stuff like that. I just want to make sure that it is a company that has a certified arborist on staff, just like the ordinance requires.
So
it's part of our pre-bid.
I did not write that. I didn't write that contract. That came from Public Works. So I can enforce anything, but if it's not noted in the contract, I'm not going to be able to enforce that.
Well, it is noted. It does say that they have to follow any township ordinances.
Okay, so like I say, that came from them. I didn't have any involvement with it.
Yeah.
So if that's what's in there, I can enforce that.
Yeah, I just, either get rid of that ordinance, or I think we should enforce it for everybody.
No, I have no problem. Enforcement is hard outside of our projects.
Right,
That.
I understand.
Here in front of everybody, right? That's an issue all the time that residents don't know about it, and contractors do or don't, but they still work in the township.
Understood. Yep.
Okay. Moving on to hazardous trees. Were there any, Steve or John, any noteworthy hazardous removals that are worth calling out of this list?
No, not at all. It's pretty standard. Trees were all in really, really bad shape. Sometimes we get some marginal ones. These were all pretty self-explanatory.
Great. Okay. And it looks like we have all of the documentation necessary.
Yep. Absolutely.
Great.
I have a couple questions on this. Sorry.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Just John, or the 15 Aberdeen, they were in bad shape. There's like 10 of them.
That's correct.
Okay. And
there was no live growth left on the hemlocks.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
And just on my last point about the township hiring contractors, there was one hazard report that didn't have a certified arborist ID on there. This one right in front of us, actually. I know the company; it's a great company.
Yep.
just don't know if they're certified and if they're registered.
Yep.
And the
Oh,
other one
John-
was,
we did verify that, and John Cox is a certified arborist. Yep.
okay, perfect.
Yep.
The other one was Conestoga Road. That came before us in the springtime. They had Anthony's Tree Service that I believe did the work, if I'm correct.
That is
They were
correct.
supposed to come back to us in October. By October, I think that's what we had talked about.
That is correct. I actually talked to them today.
Okay.
You know, I put this on, I got the report, and it went on. That was, you know, in my error. I didn't realize that they had to come back.
No, I'm not, I understand that. I'm just saying that
Right,
before
but
they're
that's
taking
what
down
they
more.
submitted.
Okay.
And then John did review it.
Yeah, no, I understand that. But have they come back with the other ones? Because we know they've taken down a bunch of trees before.
This is what they took down.
Oh, that is it.
Yes.
That's the entire list, James. Yep.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, got it. Okay, that was it. I thought this were new trees that were coming down.
No.
Okay, got it.
I appreciate the due diligence, James. That's good. The older we get, the memory goes. So having someone keep track of it is good.
Mine's almost gone. Don't worry.
Not at all,
right.
James. Sharp as a tack, buddy.
Yeah, I wish.
Moving on to number 11, trees removed by Radnor Township, 313 Williams Road, 28H Maple. Any commentary around that?
Hazard tree along the right of way.
Perfect. All right,
Just
Trish.
to let you guys know, we do have one that came into the office just the other day. The homeowner called us. He was concerned about his tree. That we went out to look to see if it was our tree or their tree. It is not in the right of way. It is in imminent danger of falling. We did go out and block off a section of that area so that nobody would park there because it is that dangerous. The tree company is getting a large
crane.
James, help me out with that one.
Crane,
That's it. To get it down immediately. It's supposed to be done this week, but just to let you guys know that there is one tree that is in absolute imminent danger.
Great, thank you for that, Trish.
And we also, real quick, and I'm not going to hold it up any longer, we do have, and me and Trish are going to be talking tomorrow, we do have Briarwood that cleared a lot behind their home. They have since submitted a hazard tree form. I denied the hazard tree form, and I will be getting together with Trish and Mr. Norsini probably next week to talk a little bit more about what's going on over there.
Great, thanks, John. Trish, have we received any public participation emails or carrier pigeons? Okay.
No.
Great. All right. Before we close out, any final words?
Good job, Seth.
Excellent job, Seth.
Yeah, good work, Seth.
Thank you. I'll be up for vote here come the election. No. All right, guys. Thanks a bunch. Have a great night. And meeting adjourned. Take care.
Take care. See you guys.
Here, everybody.
Night.
See you, everybody.